to give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain.
Bit more personal.
Yeah, and welcome back everybody to another deep dive here on the show.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Today we're going to be looking at the early career of a New Zealand rugby player, Declan O'Donnell.
A name that may be familiar to some, but certainly a deep dive worthy career.
Definitely. And we've got a really fascinating collection of sources that you've provided for us.
I tried to find some good ones.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. We've got some early news reports that really capture his initial impact on the scene.
Sort of those first impressions of him as a player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have some player profiles that kind of give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain.
Bit more personal.
Yeah. And of course, the official rugby and Olympic team pages kind of round out the picture.
This is that official record.
Exactly. And the goal today is to really try to understand how O'Donnell kind of burst onto the scene, focusing mainly on that period around 2011.
Yeah, that seems to be when he really kind of arrives as a player.
Exactly. So I guess the first thing that really jumps out when you look at these initial stories is how quickly he rose to prominence.
Yeah, it's a meteoric rise.
It really is. It seems like just 9 weeks before that 60 Seconds with interview, which is dated February 11, 2011, he was playing in a pretty low-key club tournament in a place called Te Rapa.
That's pretty far down the rugby pyramid.
Yeah, and then boom, he's scooped up by Gordon Tietjens, the legendary New Zealand Sevens coach, and he's thrust into the national Sevens squad.
That bit of whirlwind.
Seriously. What's interesting to me, though, is thinking about what Tietjens must have seen in those club matches. Like, what specifically made him think, this is the guy I need?
Well, it's a good question, and I think the articles give us some clues right away. In his debut, HSTC Sevens World Series, which is the premier Sevens competition globally.
Yeah, the big leagues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He comes out and he scores 17 tries across the first 3 legs.
That's 17.
17 tries. And that makes him joint top try scorer alongside guys like Cecil Africa and Sarah Maibro, 2 established stars. And that right there, I think, tells you a lot about what Tietjens saw, raw talent potential.
Yeah, I mean, to have that kind of immediate impact in your debut season at that level is pretty rare.
It is. And it speaks volumes about his natural abilities.
And when you read the descriptions of his playing style in those early articles, it's really something. They talk about his pace, his size, his balance, and then this, quote, gravity-defying sidestep.
Sounds almost mythical.
It really does. You can almost picture him just slicing through defenses. And to top it all off, you have Tietjens himself predicting that O'Donnell is going to be a star of the future.
I mean, that's high praise. Coming from someone like Tietjens, that carries a lot of weight.
It really does. So you have this amazing start to his international Sevens career. But then, as if that wasn't enough to cement his status as a rising star, he scores a hat trick in the final of the 2011 NZR Sevens.
You're kidding. That's clutch.
I know, right? And one of the articles specifically mentions that this performance made him the one to watch heading into the USA Sevens.
The hype was building.
Oh, absolutely. But before we go too far down the road with his Sevens success, I think it's worth taking a moment to look at that 60 Seconds with interview. It gives us a nice glimpse into O'Donnell the person, not just the rugby player.
Yeah, it's a nice personal touch.
It is. His first rugby memory is so simple and relatable. He talks about getting oranges at halftime while playing barefoot at his local club.
Oh, that's sweet.
Right. It reminds you that even the biggest stars start somewhere humble.
It's those grassroots beginnings that really shape a player.
Totally. Then he goes on to talk about his first real match playing for Boys High against Kelston High School, which apparently is a huge rivalry in New Zealand's Sokoroboy rugby.
I'll bet.
Yeah. And around the age of 13 or 14, when he made it into his school's first XV, that's when he really knew he wanted to pursue rugby seriously.
So the school system was crucial in his development.
Absolutely. The interview also touches on his life outside of rugby at the time, hanging out with friends, watching movies, playing PlayStation, and spending time with his partner.
You know, it's good to be reminded that these athletes have lives beyond the sport.
It humanizes them, right?
Definitely.
And then we get this little nugget about his sporting idol, which at the time was Corey Jane.
Another Sevens great.
Exactly. And Jane had successfully transitioned from Sevens to the All Blacks, which is kind of the ultimate goal for any New Zealand rugby player.
So it's clear O'Donnell was already looking at potential pathways for his career.
Definitely. And then he mentions that his best sporting memory so far was winning the Wellington Sevens. It's interesting to think about that now, considering all that he went on to achieve.
Yeah, that early success must have been really special.
Yeah, I think it shows just how much those early wins mean to young players.
It builds confidence and sets the stage for bigger things.
For sure. We also get a little insight into what kind of teammate O'Donnell valued, because he picks Uwali Mai from Samoa as the player he'd want on his World Series team.
And why am I?
He praises his game knowledge and his playmaking abilities.
So tactical awareness and creativity.
Yeah, exactly. Which is interesting because it suggests that O'Donnell wasn't just focused on individual brilliance. He understood the importance of team dynamics and strategy.
It speaks to his rugby IQ.
Absolutely. And then you have these little personal details that just make the interview so charming. He reveals that his favorite movie was Twilight.
Twilight? Really?
Apparently his partner got him into it.
Interesting.
And he admits that he wasn't much of a reader, jokingly saying he'd pick Where's Wally if he had to choose a book.
Okay, that's funny.
Right. It just makes him so relatable.
It does. It shows he's got a sense of humor.
Totally. But let's get back to those comparisons that Gordon Tietjens was making. Remember, he likened O'Donnell to All Blacks legends Christian Cullen and Frank Bunce.
Yeah, those are some big shoes to fill.
Seriously. He compared O'Donnell's fast feet gliding style and step to Cullen, and then his defensive strength and, quote, mongrel to Bunce.
It's almost like he was trying to manifest O'Donnell's future.
Maybe he was. I mean, it's clear that Tietjens saw something truly special in him.
You don't make those sorts of comparisons lightly.
No, you don't. And then we come to the Hong Kong Sevens in March 2011. And guess what? His try-scoring form didn't let up. He scores another hat trick.
Another one.
This time, in their opening pool match against Korea, the final score was a whopping 61-0.
Wow, that's a statement win.
It was. And another player, Buxton Papawali, had an absolute blinder of a game as well, scoring 26 points.
So it wasn't just a one-man show.
No, definitely not. It was a complete team performance, but O'Donnell's contribution was obviously crucial.
And remember, at this point, New Zealand is jointly leading the World Series with England.
They were the team to beat.
Exactly. So O'Donnell wasn't just playing well, he was playing well on a winning team.
And that's important, right?
Absolutely. It shows that he could handle the pressure of performing at the highest level.
Now, the sources also trace his move into 15-a-side rugby, which is a different beast altogether.
Yeah, it's a different game entirely.
It is. He made his ITM Cup debut for Waikato in 2011, which, for those who don't know, is a major domestic competition in New Zealand.
Sort of a proving ground for up-and-coming players.
Exactly. And then in 2012, he signs with the Chiefs in Super Rugby, which is the professional club competition in the Southern Hemisphere.
So he's moving up the ranks.
He is. But there's a bit of a hiccup here because he only ends up playing once for the Chiefs before being delisted.
Oh, wow. That must have been tough.
I can only imagine, especially after such a dominant start in sevens.
It goes to show that the transition from sevens to 15s isn't always smooth.
You're right. It's a different game with different demands.
Totally. Different skill sets, different tactics.
But he doesn't give up. He moves to the Highlanders for the 2013 season.
Keeps plugging away.
And in 2012, he achieves something really special. He's selected for the Maori All Blacks.
That's a huge honor.
It really is. The Maori All Blacks represent the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand, and it's considered a massive privilege to be chosen to play for them.
It's about more than just rugby.
Exactly. It's about cultural heritage and pride.
So even though he was facing some challenges in Super Rugby, he was still highly regarded within New Zealand rugby.
Definitely. Unfortunately, though, he suffers a shoulder injury in 2013, which puts him out for the rest of the season after joining the Highlanders.
Injuries are the worst.
They are, especially for a young player trying to establish himself.
It can really disrupt your momentum.
It can, but he bounces back, eventually signing with the Blues for the 2017 season.
The Blues, another big Super Rugby team.
They are, and he also makes appearances for Taranaki in the ITM Cup, which had been renamed the Mitre 10 Cup at that point.
So he's still competing at a high level domestically.
Absolutely. And then his career takes a really interesting turn. He moves to the United States in 2020, signing with Old Glory DC in Major League Rugby.
Wow, that's a big move.
It is. It shows his willingness to embrace new opportunities and challenges.
And maybe a little bit of wanderlust.
Perhaps. Now, one of the sources specifically mentions his silver medal win with the New Zealand Sevens team at the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow.
Commonwealth Games.
They lost a really close gold medal match, 12-17, but still a silver medal at that level is a massive achievement.
It is. Representing your country on that stage is something special.
And there's a nice little detail in the Hamilton Boys High School article where they congratulate O'Donnell for his medal alongside other alumni who found success at the same games.
Oh, like who?
Well, there's David Nika, who won gold in boxing.
Wow, impressive.
And then Joe Weber, who also won silver in rugby sevens.
So 2 from the same school.
Amazing.
Right.
And then Sam Gaze, who won silver in mountain biking, and Zane Robertson, who took bronze in the 5,000 meters.
That's quite a haul.
It is. It really speaks to the sporting culture at that school.
They must be doing something right.
Definitely. Now, we also need to address a more complex aspect of his early career, which is the assault incident at the Outback Inn in Hamilton back in January 2011.
Yeah, I saw that in the reports.
It's important to acknowledge these things, right?
Absolutely. It's part of his story.
It happened after his brother was reportedly assaulted by doormen at the inn.
So difficult situation.
Very much so. The articles state that he pleaded guilty to common assault in June 2011, but the charges were later reduced and no conviction was recorded.
Okay, and what about the doorman?
One of the bouncers involved was subsequently convicted of assault.
So it sounds like a messy situation all around.
It does, with legal ramifications for multiple parties.
And a reminder that these athletes are human and they make mistakes.
Exactly. So to kind of sum up these early years, we see Declan O'Donnell explode onto the scene in sevens rugby. He racks up accolades, he's compared to legends, and he helps New Zealand become a dominant force on the world stage.
An incredible start.
It really is. Then he transitions to 15-a-side rugby, where he faces some challenges but ultimately shows resilience and a determination to keep playing.
The ups and downs of a professional career.
For sure. And throughout it all, he seems grounded and relatable with a good sense of humor.
And let's not forget the Commonwealth Games silver medal.
Absolutely. A real highlight.
It is. So I think we've achieved what we set out to do. We've explored the beginnings of Declan O'Donnell's career, and I think we've gotten a good sense of who he is as both a player and a person.
I agree. And I think these sources provide a fascinating glimpse into what it takes to make it as a professional athlete.
The hard work, the talent, the sacrifices, the setbacks.
It's all there.
It is. So here's a final thought for our listeners. Considering O'Donnell's journey and the various twists and turns it took, what does this tell us about the unpredictable nature of professional sports? How many other emerging players have similar stories of triumph and tribulation?
That's a great question. And it's something I think we can all ponder as we continue to follow the careers of these athletes who dedicate their lives to their sport.
Because for every success story, there are countless others who maybe didn't quite reach the same heights, but whose journeys are no less compelling.
That's a really good point. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time, folks.
See you then.